Hi, everyone. Okay, I need to say this out loud. These are the next set of people / celebrities that I am just about positive are autistic. Number one, Rachel Maddow. I am definitely leaning more toward her again because she's worn the same damn top on her show for years. She's had the same haircut for years. She literally cries at anybody giving her a compliment of any sort. I don't know. It's so hard to figure that one out because unless I have for example, the next two are Elliot Page and Eliza Schlesinger. I don't know. I can't talk. For Elliot Page, definitely autistic. I'm listening to his audiobook right now. And if I've never seen somebody outside of what they do, I don't watch or hear of interviews that Rachel Maddow does with anybody. I don't listen or follow celebrities like that. So when I was listening to Elliot Page's book, there's things in there and just how he talks, I just am about positive that he's autistic. And so I don't know anything about Rachel Maddow because she's private, very private person. Which that could also be an indicator of being autistic. And then Eliza Schlesinger, I shouldn't say that again. I listened to her. She's got a new book out, newish. I just found it or heard about it last week, and I finished it last week. If you're a fan of comedy, or even if you're a fan of her and you didn't know that she had another book out, I would highly recommend getting the audiobook because when comedians write books, I look to see if they narrated the audiobook because it is listening to her audiobook is way more funny than if I had just read the book. So I highly recommend that. And if you listen to that audiobook, I am 90% sure that you're going to think she's autistic by the end of it. So that's where I'm at with my new list. I feel pretty ridiculous saying this out loud, and I'm only doing it because I need to say it out loud. It needs to go somewhere. And there is at least somebody out there that has thought this about these people. So it's not just you. That's a very ridiculous thing, I think, to just be hey, can you relate to this too? But I don't know. I just really want these people to know that they're autistic. Their lives would probably be so much easier. That's not for me to do. That's none of my business. But I can still sit here and speculate and wonder. Anyways, I had to say that out loud. So the topic I have for today is having persistent empathy for strangers. I need to talk about this because once again, I know that this podcast is supposed to be about autism. I have no idea if this subject is specific to autism. I am still listening to podcasts. I'm still reading books, articles, trying to learn as much as I can. Because, let's say I read 10 books on autism. All of those books will have, let's say 70% of relatively the same information about, characteristics of autism, blah, blah, blah. So reading those 10 books and rereading that same type of information reinforces what I already have thought or know to be true about myself. It's nice to just continuously get reminders that you're not alone. And B, it's a different perspective. And I love listening to people talk about their stories and what they've been through, and it makes you feel less alone. And then C, I will keep reading the same stuff or listening to the same stuff about the same subject over and over and over again, because out of 10 books, there is a high chance that there is a nugget of something new in that book that I did not know about autism. And so I'm still having experiences like this, but I have yet to come across this empathy thing. I've heard other people talk about it on their podcasts. I haven't heard people talk about empathy for strangers. like literally just for strangers. Well, not just. I have empathy for like everybody, but I guess I haven't heard or read anything by somebody who's autistic regarding like being consumed with thoughts of what other people are going through. I guess is the best way to say it. I'd really like to know if anybody out there has like heard of this, or is there a name for this? Because I can't find, sorry, the talking. I spent like 10 minutes. That's not my usual research time. My usual research time is 10 hours, but I only had 10 minutes that I wanted to devote to that. So I will add it to my list of things to research when I have more time. But I don't know. I think this could be something with autism or not. Maybe. I don't know. Feel free to just stop listening. Okay. So I have a list as always, and I'm going to just talk about some stuff that relates to this in the hopes that maybe somebody out there can relate to it. And this will make more sense. So I was reading a New York Times article last night, and it kind of floored me, and I have not been able to stop thinking about it. So the article was about this woman who, she was married to this dude for 21 years. They had 2 kids together. And then right when COVID started, they moved out. I think she said Martha's Vineyard. So they had a house. They moved out there. It was by the water. They were just going to kind of hunker down. And that's how they were going to isolate during COVID. And this was at the very beginning. And I forget how long she said that they were there for. I don't think it was very long. And her husband was like, this life isn't for me anymore. You know, like the kids, all of this, I don't want this anymore. And he said, I'm leaving tomorrow. And that motherfucker packed his shit and took off the next day and did not give her any specific reason for why after 21 years he just wanted to leave. I felt so bad for her. And the article, like she said it's been 3 years, obviously, since that happened, because it was at the beginning. And during that 3 years, the guy told his family members not to talk to her, so she was never able to get any answers out of them. She had some dude call her out of the blue one day and said, hey, your husband has been having an affair with my wife. And she didn't really ask him any questions because she was a little bit in shock, and she never called the guy back, but she had some kind of an answer. And then she basically was just saying that she's moved back to the area that they share. She sees him sometimes, but they don't talk. Doesn't sound like he's involved with the kids at all. I don't think she's really said a whole lot to him since then. And he's not given her any actual reason for why after 21 years he just left. And she had said that they loved each other. There were no red flags. They got along, nothing like that. It's just one day he up and decided this isn't for me and then bolted. And I haven't heard of that before. I've heard of wanting a divorce after 20 something years, but that's a process. You know, you don't just up and leave. So I've heard of that. I've heard of one spouse murdering the other one, like after several years of being together, but this was not that. And I felt so bad for this lady, because I could imagine what that would feel like. And I found myself like angry at this dude that I did not even know I don't know who he is. But you don't do that to people. Like, you just left your family. You have a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old and a wife of 21 years, and you up and left, like, within 24 hours of dumping this info on her, and then you don't even bother to give her an explanation. And the lady said she has no idea if her ex-husband is still with that person or what he's doing with his life now. That is the most bizarre thing that I've heard in a while. And I can't stop thinking about it. I don't know why. And that kind of, I don't know if that bothers me, because I'm used to thinking about things repeatedly, but certain subjects I just can't get. Like certain things will just it'll stay in my head until I don't know when. I don't know how to get this out of my head. And I don't know why I have like feelings about this, because I don't know these people. I don't know that lady. You know, for all I know, she could have been a big fucking bitch, but it doesn't sound like it. But I mean, she could have been. I don't know. But when I got to the end of that article and I realized that she did not have like a good ending to the story, and the good ending would have been closure. She didn't get her closure, and she basically just said she had no choice but to look forward and continue living her life and accepting that she'll never get the answers that she wants. That's really sad. So that's something I'm still thinking about, and I don't know why. Another thing that this has been going on longer. If you've been watching the news, like you had to have heard about that Titan what is it called? Titan submersible? The Titan or something? Am I saying that right? It was that thing that they were going to go to the Titanic like a couple of weeks ago, and it like imploded and they couldn't find anybody for a while. And I can't stop thinking about this either. When they like initially had talked about like what this was and the company that created this and how they bypassed like safety measures they should have taken, I just found myself researching this company, trying to understand what this submersible thing was. What did it look like? You know, how was it built? And what safety measures did they decide to just overlook? I was curious about that. Then I came across an article about James Cameron? I don't know the dude. Something Cameron, whoever did that Titanic movie. He had an article out a while back, maybe years ago. I think it was years ago, about how he is like basically obsessed with ships. And he was talking about it was recent, because he was talking about this was what was wrong with the design of the Titan. And so anyways, when they said that they couldn't find the submersible, I just was wondering, like, I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, how do you fucking lose something like that? Like, how does that just go missing? And they talked about how much oxygen they might have left, and I would play these scenarios out in my mind about what must be going on inside that thing. There were like 5 people, I think they said there were, and when I was picturing these things, when they couldn't find these people initially, I assumed that they were alive. I was hoping that they were alive. And then I was just playing out like, you know, what kind of things they might say. Do they realize that they've lost contact with, you know, like what must they be thinking and feeling? And then I found out that they found debris at the bottom of the ocean floor. They were pulling it up, and they made the assessment that it was likely that the Titan imploded because something with the pressure, and they said it was like instantaneous death. And I can't stop thinking about that either, because I like am imagining myself inside that thing, because now I know what it looks like inside. I saw the pictures, so I'm imagining myself inside that thing, like descending down to see the Titanic, and then imagining the thing imploding with me inside it. Does that sound dumb? I'm not trying to be morbid. I'm not suicidal. I'm not laughing. I mean, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the families of, I'm not trying to be disrespectful talking about this. This is just what I've been thinking. And I don't know why I'm thinking about stuff like that. I want to say it's because I've never heard of anything like this happening. It seems very, very strange that this ginormous thing just loses contact with, you know, its people or whatever, goes missing. I don't get it. I mean, I do, because they didn't do their safety bullshit. So I do know like why it happened, but I don't know why I'm imagining myself inside that thing. And I imagine like descending down, and then suddenly And then, oh God, then I was reading articles about the family members and the days that led up to these people taking this kind of a trip. Anyways, I can't get this out of my mind. I feel so bad for this happening to them. I feel so bad for the family and the friends and everybody that was affected by this. And I don't know these people. And one of the people in there, I think, was the CEO or the co-founder or whatever. And so he chose not to do the safety stuff or whatever. And that was irritating, but I still felt so bad for him. I'm like, this is a shitty way to die. I don't know. So that, I think about that several times throughout the day. I don't know how to get that out of my head. Other things I think about pretty regularly. They're not intrusive thoughts or anything, but people that have to flee from natural disasters like floods, hurricanes, wildfires, and you see these things on the news, and I just imagine how that must feel, and I imagine myself having to be, like, in that position. I mean, does it sound selfish maybe that I'm relating them to, like, I don't know, I'm not trying to be selfish, but I can't help but imagine that's what empathy is, right? I mean, I know what empathy is, but I just imagined, like, it doesn't matter where you live in the world, basically, with, like, climate change. You can't, like, for the States, I can't be like, oh, I live in New York, so I don't have to worry about all the bullshit that goes on down south with the weather. That's not true anymore. Doesn't matter where you live. Anything can happen. It's been so hot here. It's so unnaturally hot here right now. And I imagine us having to evacuate our house, what would happen with the pets. And I don't know, I guess it's a way of maybe trying to, is that thing where you try to plan for every situation? Maybe that's what I'm doing with that kind of stuff. But I also think about the people that have to do this, and I just feel bad for them. Like, they lose their homes. They just have to start all over. They've got nothing but each other, and that is so sad. And I wish things like that didn't happen. I regularly think about nurses and doctors, how I feel like they didn't get, like, they got recognized, obviously, for what they did during COVID and what they're still doing, but I think they still deserve, like, way more. I don't know if it's attention or what, but these people busted their asses. A lot of them left the field, and a lot of them stayed, and I can't even imagine what that must have been like for them through COVID. All of the sickness, all of the death. I saw some of the videos on YouTube that they would post. Rachel Maddow on her show, she would interview some of them that were going through like crammed ERs and stuff. And I guess, like, I think I saw something one time on TV where it just seemed like, I don't know if, like, a nurse was being yelled at by a patient or whatever, but I just felt really bad for that nurse. And I thought to myself, she's literally saving lives, and you have the balls to sit there and yell at this lady during COVID where everybody's just, like, dying. And I feel like after the first year, people just kind of stopped mentioning nurses and doctors as much when they were at the front lines, and, you know, along with the other people that had to deliver groceries and stuff. I feel bad. I wish that more could be done for them. I'm not saying that nothing's being done, but I just mean, like, I don't know what I mean. Do you know what I mean? I guess I don't feel like they've been appreciated enough. And that's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but that's just how I feel. And I'm very grateful for those people, even though I never had to go to the hospital during COVID. I haven't gotten COVID. I'm still very grateful that people were willing to stay and just continue. Because that shit's traumatic. So I think about that regularly, like I said. Stigmatized groups, people of color, the gay community, which I'm kind of a part of, I guess. And, like, us autistics, like just stigmatized groups, I've always loathed that they have to be stigmatized in the first place. I feel like everything is just unfair in this world. There's people that have millions of dollars that don't need millions of dollars. There's people that have no money that need money. It's just the balance of wealth is not fair. Class and status is just stupid. I don't think that, like, I wish we had a utopia, but we will never have utopia. But I know what it feels like to be, like, I don't know. Should I say that? I don't know. I guess I shouldn't say that because I can't recall. I've not been, like, bullied because of, like, being married to a woman. I haven't been bullied over being autistic or anything like that. But I guess I can imagine what that would feel like, because I have been bullied and stuff about other things. But growing up, like, in school, you learn about, like, just the history of the country, like other countries. And it's not usually good history because it's always about people hating other people and wars being started over just power and money and bullshit. And it's not fair that there's people in this world that think that they're better than other people. I don't understand why everybody can't live, like, on the same level. Victims of assault, people who are houseless. I like that term better than homeless because there's homeless people that do find homes within other communities. Like, I don't know how to say it properly, but, like, I saw a special. I don't remember what it was. It was like a few weeks ago, and this person kept saying the word houseless instead of homeless, and I thought, that's better. That's a better way to refer to it, because not everybody views themselves as homeless just because they don't have a house, if that makes sense. But anyways, I think about these things because it just goes back to our systems are fucked up. Victims of assault there's still a lot of issues going on with that. People not feeling safe enough to come forward. Even though the whole Me Too thing, a whole bunch of people came forward, there's still, like, not enough being done in this area, in my opinion. And people should not have to live without a home, like a house, I guess, if they want one. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to live in a house, you should be able to have a fucking house. I saw this thing on TV a year ago. They were doing what they called homeless communities. No, maybe that wasn't the name. But they were for people who didn't have homes, and they would make, like, the tiny homes. And it was cost effective, and it got people off of the streets. I think that's a wonderful concept, and I wish that just everybody everywhere could do that, because there is money for it. If they would just stop giving money to people who didn't need all that money. People who struggle for whatever reason with, like, financial issues, older people who can't do some of the same things like they're used to doing. For example, Janice's mom died a couple of years ago, and we would go over and visit her too. Her name was Annie, and we've been here for about a decade. So after the first couple of years, Annie was not able to drive anymore because she just couldn't see very well, and her eyesight was going. I mean, this lady lived to be 98, so they got good genes, but her whole body would hurt. She complained about arthritis and not being able to drive. And then it was like, every time she looked around, there was one more thing that she wasn't able to do anymore. Like, she couldn't go garden. She couldn't mow, And I think about that, like, how that must feel to not be able to do the things that you're used to doing your entire life, because you know that you're older, and, like, independence being taken away. I don't know. I just think that might be sad. Maybe not. Maybe some people don't. I don't know. I just think that if I live to be that old, am I going to feel sad too when I can't do those things? Am I going to just be like, oh, I've lived way too many years. I need to just, take me now. Like, am I going to be like that? I don't know. I know I don't know. I shouldn't be talking. So the point I'm trying to make is I don't know why I have what I'm calling persistent empathy. I don't know how else to describe it, but I think about strangers quite frequently. And I know what the news is. The news is all about, here's all the bad things happening, and you rarely hear about the good shit. So I know how to filter things out. I know how to go find and read stories about the good shit that they don't want to talk about all the time. But yeah, I don't know what this is. I don't know how to stop it. I don't know if it's related to autism. So if there's somebody out there that is like this, can you please let me know? If there's anybody out there that has found something that relates this to autism in some way, I would really appreciate, letting me know that too. That's really kind of all I had for today. I really wanted to talk about these things, and I think that Titan thing is just, that should be at the top of the list, because I still can't stop thinking about that. And I'm replaying it over and over and over in my mind. Like, how did this mistake happen? How did they just get lost? Why didn't they follow the proper safety guidelines? I know why, but still, it could have been prevented. And another thing that I had that I'm just going to go ahead and say, and I'm sorry, for however this sounds, the people that went on the Titan, no, they did not deserve to die. I am not saying that. All I'm saying is that company was offering trips to the Titanic for the rich, $250,000 for a spot on that fucking thing, just to go down there and look at the Titanic. I can see the Titanic better on my TV. I get the whole, you're right in front of it and up close and that thing, but I don't know that I want to be hundreds of feet or however far down it is. But I thought to myself, that's not fair to offer stuff like that just for rich people. Why can't everybody have that opportunity? And this applies to anything that is exclusive to wealthy people, that us regular people that have, I don't know, regular finances, I don't know, middle class or what it is called now. But I think that that's not very fair, because everybody deserves to have the same kinds of experiences, and they shouldn't have to wish for them or work their asses off to get them, or, you know what I mean? We all should just be on equal levels, and nobody's going to ever want to live like that. I mean, I shouldn't say that. The people who, there's people that just don't want to live like that, obviously. And, yeah, so, and there's nothing I can do to fix any of this shit. You can do whatever you can on a local level, maybe on a national level, but it really, really bothers me that these issues are not fixed. Why do we still have such imbalance in the world? I don't know why. It's not fair, and I wish it wasn't like this. So, thank you for listening if you got this far, and goodbye.